They're guys. They do magic. They are the Magic Guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 120 of the Magic Guys. I'm Josh Dombito. That's Nick K. That's Mika Harris. And that is Doug Kahn. We are your Magic Guys today. How's it going?
It's good to be here, friends. It's been a fun week. Welcome back, Doug Kahn, from a week of leave. Give it up for Doug Kahn, everybody.
Hey.
What's up, fellas?
All right.
I'm almost recovered.
Where have you been? We've missed you. Fill us in.
Man, well, I think I'm just guilty last week of having fun and relaxing after not relaxing too much.
And you've got this new tech as well. For those watching,
yeah, man, I'm rocking this
pretty
new
cool.
Gimbal cam where things are. I don't even know what camera position is. What is over here?
Yeah, again, to the podcast
here, let me
listeners,
show this off. This is
I was gonna
AI. It'll find me and then follow me. So this is like the stuff.
Oh,
What's
so very
happening?
cool. This is the new
Force.
webcam that Doug is currently showing everyone, and it follows him. It's on a gimbal. He has a camera on a gimbal, and instead of needing three different cameras to show three different angles in a live stream, he just has these presets, and the camera's just moving and zooming in, close up on his hands, onto it. Oh, don't show us that, Doug. Put that away, and then back on his face. It's like,
What's wrong with that?
that's crazy.
You're taunting the audio listeners. Is that what you're doing?
That's right.
Yes. Well, they're probably driving. They could be listening while they drive, but do take it upon yourself to watch it on YouTube.
Let's
when you
plug
get
this.
home. There is-
Let's plug this company in hopes they give me a brand deal. Insta360 Link. This is the best web camera in the universe, and I am looking for brand deals. Insta360. I use your stuff a lot. Find me.
Well,
We
now
use
that
your
you
stuff
plugged
a
in,
lot.
they don't need to. They don't need to.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, but I know how these things work. You got to give them a taste, and then they'll be like, "Oh, Khan's interested," and then you don't buy anything else. They're like, "Why isn't Khan promoting our new thing?" And then they send.
Well, I promote them too
Yeah.
because I do all of my Trick a Day stuff with the X3 360 camera.
Yeah.
It's a great
Fantastic.
camera. Yeah,
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
360
almost
is good.
Yeah, like for the past maybe 3 or 4 months, every single bit of content has been on the X3, and it's a great camera. We would love a sponsorship at the Magic Guys.
We got the 1 hour over here. So
Mika's
Oh,
got
I'm
one
missing
eye
out.
What's the 1R? Enlighten us.
it's actually a little bit older now, but it's the interchangeable one between an action camera and a 360 camera. So you can take this lens off and put a 360 lens on here. So then you essentially have like either a normal GoPro or a 360 camera.
So it's a GoPro line camera. Is that what it is?
No, it's Insta360. It's the brand. Insta.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, I've seen them. Right. Okay.
Wow. I mean, Mika's in it. If anyone knows about cameras on the go, it's Mika. And look, most of you guys know Mika because he's like a day one of the podcast. You know, he was one of the first guys in the Patreon. You know, if you look at some of the clips of us jamming back and then, you know, it was so long ago that he looks like a little. He's gone from a boy to a man during the duration of the podcast has been existing, which is awesome. But
pretty much.
And if his hair is any indication, he's slowly evolving into Jason Ma. Look at that mighty Boosh he's representing. It's like a lion's mane. Look at him, the mighty Boosh.
I'm gonna just shave it all off now. It's gone.
Oh, great. And he could be like
Well,
the
when
three
I
of us.
first met Mika, he's like I thought he was like 16, and now he's like a grizzled veteran. He's like going on 40.
So Mika, there might be a few listeners who don't know exactly who you are. So please take it upon yourselves. Tell us who you are. Tell us what you do. Go for it, pal.
I'm 21 years old. My name is Mika. I live in Australia, although I am from New Zealand because it's just a better country. But you know, that's an argument to be had later. No, I live in Australia now, Sydney, to street perform full time. I moved over here in December last year. And right now I am currently attempting a 365 days of magic challenge. So trying to make a video every single day for the entire
Obvious
year.
sign of insanity.
I think so.
No doubt about that.
Currently on about day 100. Well, I'm editing day 128 right now, so it'll be up on YouTube in a few hours.
Have you missed a day, or have you got them all?
Oh yeah,
so
no,
far?
I'm like 7 days behind or something.
Such a loser.
Just
God, what a scrub. This is from the guy who gave up after 10 days of Trick-a-Day May Live. I threw in the towel. This is me. I'm like, I can't do this.
Damn.
Yeah, no, just slowly over time, I've like missed a day or fallen behind by a few hours. So it just kind of compounds to about I mean, Jason's actually on the same number as me, which is quite funny because we've been apart for each other for about 6 weeks. So the fact that we've ended up like the same amount behind is interesting. I will be catching up slowly over time. And by the end of the year, there will be 365 videos there. So,
Damn.
There's a lot of folks who are attempting this 365 days. What would it really take? What would be the perfect scenario for anyone attempting to do it? Because my thought is, you would have to be a magician who doesn't do any gigs, have any friends, and just knows heaps of magic. Like that would be it. That would be.
I think you just
I could do
described like a
360.
heavy percentage of
Being a
magicians
street
there.
performer is the key. Making
Being
your
a
own
street performer?
hours. Yeah, right, because it's total freedom.
yeah.
I think if you were a 14-year-old boy that was living in your in your bedroom at your folks' house, and you didn't have to worry about laundry bills and
I wish.
whatever else,
Beat out
I think,
school.
then this would be a breeze. This would be a breeze. But
Let me speak for a moment on this. As I threw in the towel on day 10 as a professional, I was devoting way too much of my time to these trick-a-day live experiences, with the thumbnails and the titles and the yada yada. If you do it right, it takes 4 or 5 hours to get it all together. And
Agreed.
I'm a busy boy this month. I'm traveling, and I thought originally I'll just do it on the road. But 10 days in, I'm like, if I do all of these things, I'm not doing my most important things as well as I should be. And these are important events for me. I'm appearing at some magic conventions this month, and I want to be top of my game. So yeah.
So following that, I recently had a 6-week gig, which I'll talk about soon. But this this gig, I obviously was paid and contracted, so I had to be very professional about it and focus on that first. Like filming was secondary essentially, which is actually where I've fallen the most behind on the 365 because I had that to concentrate on. But so something like thumbnails, for instance, they've been pretty trash for the last 6 weeks, I'll be honest. And
Yeah, I agree with that. Horrible thumbnails, but I'll tell you what, when I go to watch YouTube videos, you're the guy I watch anyway. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Now that I'm back in Sydney, I'm like renovating my thumbnails. So I'm just going back down the line and remaking
Yeah, right. Good job.
now that I have a little bit of time.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
It's not easy. That's what I was saying. Doing a good thumbnail could take hours sometimes if you do it right. I mean, it's not a gimme.
And I mean, now that you're making that Mayo magic money, you could just go get someone on Fiverr. Because I did that for the podcast. I paid someone when I first started with our thumbnails to just go back and make like the last 10.
Okay, yeah.
And that could be something. Get a pro
the
to do it. So what you do is you pay someone to do it, and then they send you the Photoshop file, and then from that you keep that file and you just use those settings,
like a generic template almost.
The same color settings they put, and you just input your own picture each time. Like that could be a thing.
The problem on my end is that every video is different. Like I don't have a structure. Sometimes it's a vlog and sometimes it's not. So making a generic template thumbnail doesn't particularly work all the time because half the time I'm filming throughout the entire day and I have zero idea what the title is going to be, what even the theme of the video is. It is what it is at the end of the day. So the thumbnail can be very different sometimes, which is just an interesting thing to deal with.
Have you found the production time to be more efficient as time goes on, or are you just adding to your toolkit and making things more complex as time goes on?
I'm a pretty quick editor, I would say, in general. It depends. Yeah, it does depend how much effort I want to put in. Sometimes I will put a bit more effort into, like I'll still make it a good edit, and then I'll go that little bit extra if I have time to do so. And sometimes I just don't have time to do so. But the final product I'm still like reasonably happy with for what I've managed to do in one day. So it is what it is. I think with something
what I'm battling. Like, when you're putting out stuff that you could be genuinely proud of, like anyone can squeeze out a trick, and just, my thumb come off. There you go. Like and share. I mean, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
But it's not, I was going to do the trick a day myself, and then through conversations with the pod and people saying you should do it, what I've realized is that I've learned a lot, even though it's only been 16 days so far, of how to better use my camera, better use my lighting, advice from Jason, etc. Like, listen to that guy. Obviously, listen to what Mike has to say. He's in the trenches. He's got a lot of good advice, and he's living it. But what I'm finding now personally is that I, like you guys, am in an absolute struggle to juggle everything else I'm doing with myself. I'm writing a show, I'm running an agency, I'm doing all these things. And I kind of want to pull out, but I kind of feel like, oh, you're a failure. But it's not really that. Because I'm packing my bags after this. I'm going to be out of town for 4 days, and so there's a bit of a difficulty in that for me, and to want to capture good stuff. And I would rather do things. I would rather do things like respectfully to my audience and give them the time, and not just give them crap every day, but just go, I'm going to give you a photo, like one every few days, or a 3 a week, or 1 a week, but it's going to be good. And it's going to be something they asked for. Because for me, what I've really liked is people have sent me challenges. So I got a few videos coming up. They sent challenges. In fact, the one yesterday was Mika going, you should do a drunk video.
Magic.
And I was like, I will. So I drank a bottle of wine, and I did a trick with the empty bottle. So that was a good time. I got someone who's hit me up and said, do a trick with a banana. So that's coming out tomorrow. Someone else has asked me to do a trick with a fart. Must be a child, bless their heart. But another person saying, like, do an illusion. I'm like, I like this. I like this idea of saying, like, you give me a creative challenge and I'll put something together and I'll let you know when it's done. So that's my new thing now. That's what I'm putting.
Yeah,
I love that.
So
I love that.
Yeah,
It's building the community as well.
Right. And it's only through doing stuff like this, doing this 365, that you only see the opportunities the world has to give you, right? Like, if it wasn't you going down your path, Mika, like, would you have ended up in Sydney? Would you have ended up, like, did you...
Well, tell them that story.
Oh, that's a story. Yeah, I'll tell that. Wait, in 1 second. I just want to comment on what Nick said about, like,
No, don't worry about that. We want to know about Sydney.
Wanting to give up
I'm stupid. Don't worry about
on
it.
what he's doing, and then because you want to do better. That is exactly how I'm currently feeling about 365. I'll be honest. Like, I would love to stop, and I would love to stop and then just make a couple of videos a week and put my all into them, because obviously 1 day isn't enough time to, like, plan, film, edit something that I'm really proud of. I also have to try, if I'm making a vlog, I have to try squeeze as much as possible into it in 1 day instead of spreading over a few days. So that is a problem, but my brain will not let me give up. I'm a bit stubborn, so we'll wait until the end of the year and then I'll fix that problem. I think the way I have to look at it is, whatever I make, I can then make it and either know that I'm happy with what I've made or not happy with what I've made. So in future, I know the direction that I want to take content and all that kind of stuff. That's, I think, how I have to look at that at this point.
Do you feel there's room to have that growth process trying to produce this content daily? Do you have learning times and so on where you're able to, educate yourself and such?
Yeah, well, exactly. So I have to, there's videos where I'm like, I don't want to make these videos, but I'm going to make this video. I'm going to see how it does. I'm going to see if I can make it, like, interesting to make for me, and then also still interesting and relevant for my audience. And then if I don't like it, well, I can try it again. So thanks, Jason.
For those listening, Jason Ma just jumped on and said, "What's it like being a nerd?"
That's pretty great, actually.
Bro, you are the king of the nerds.
The king of the nerds.
Content, baby.
He's skipping the podcast to go play some Pokemon tournament somewhere today, probably.
When Mika puts 100% into his edits, they feel like film festival short films. Oh, thank you very much, Scotty.
Hey.
Thank you.
By the way, shout out to Scotty P for the animation he made for our podcast last week. That was buddy.
50 kinds of funny.
I wondered where that came from.
Yeah, bro. Thank you. And please, let's talk. Let's do some more, because that was very cool. Thank you. So, how the hell are you in Sydney?
Okay, so I am in Sydney.
And in New Zealand, you had a full-time job, right? Like, you were working full-time.
So I spent 2 years living in Wellington, which is the capital city of New Zealand, and I was just managing a cafe. I was barista managing a cafe. And then one day during work, near the end of 2022, Jason was on a cruise ship, and he messaged me and he's like, "Yo, I'm going to be in New Zealand for the day. Where are you?" And I was the other end of the country to where the cruise ship was pulling him. So I literally messaged work. He messaged me like the day before he was getting here. And so I messaged work. I'm like, look, can I get this day off? And in my head, I was essentially going to take the day off regardless, but I was just being courteous and being like, look, guys, I need this day off, please. And so then I took a 12-hour overnight bus all the way to Auckland, the other side of the island. And then met Jason, like got off the bus at like 6 a.m. He got off the cruise ship at like 10 a.m. We spent the day together talking and everything. And then I took a 12-hour bus overnight home. So in 36 hours, I spent 24 of them on a bus. It was a worthwhile experience because when I was talking to Jason, I was street performing at this point, just like casually on the weekends in Wellington. And so I was talking to Jason and he was like, oh, you should come and street perform in Australia for school holidays or something. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. And by the end of the day, the conversation had evolved to, oh, you might as well just move over. So that was that. I think I called my parents that same night and I'm like, so I'm thinking about moving to Australia. And then about 3 months later, I arrived. So,
it's such a cool story. And you see the ring, you go for it, and congratulations, man.
Well, I didn't like my job was fine, but I wasn't happy because I
have dreams.
Yeah, exactly. I was working a full-time job, like 40 hours a week, plus trying to make videos, do magic, and street perform all on the outside. So everything I was doing on the outside of a full-time job was what I wanted to be doing instead of that. So when it kind of became like, oh, I have this opportunity, I was like, yep, jumping on that. I'm quitting. Done. So that's kind of the origin story there, how I got to Australia.
And had you had some kind of a savings blanket built up before you jumped ship?
Yeah. That wasn't my savings wasn't intentional. I didn't save for this trip. I've just been relatively good with money and can save. And I had a full-time job I worked all throughout high school, and then
that's the smart way to transition into a professional magician.
Yeah, I guess
is
that's
to have at least 6 months of livelihood backed up, probably a year's worth of money saved.
It is almost parody to exactly how I decided to get into full-time magic. And one of the things I did when I started doing magic, and I had to explain to my friends and family around me, was like, look, I've got a head start. I'm doing fine. I'm going to give myself a year, is what I said to them. I go, if I'm not making a living or supporting myself in the space of 1 year, I'll go back to the real world. And they all went, all right, we'll give you a year. And that was 15 years ago. So
wow, that's
cool. Boy.
Yeah.
And that has to be worthy of a like and share.
Absolutely.
Oh my.
So did you set
I like that audio.
Did you set a limit on yourself when you were going into this, say like, I'm going to Oz and I'm going to give it this long? Or you just said like there is no turning back. This is it.
No, I think I'm a bit stubborn, so I'm just in the mindset of like, I'm gonna make this work. I have to make this work. I want to make this work. So that's sorry. Get socks in it. Are we good?
Hey.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that's where I am currently. Obviously, if I have to supplement my finances or income with something else eventually, then that is what I have to do. But currently, that's most definitely not the plan. So I feel like, if anyone can, like, how do I word this? Well, yeah, if anyone can like street perform, like if Jason can do it full time, then why can't I? So
yeah,
that's kind of.
There is many answers to that.
In the wise words
of, trust me, I know.
How has your growth on the streets been? Do you feel like you're at a position now? What are you, 6 months in? Are you finding yourself yet?
Yeah. What happened when you first started? Like the first month or two?
Oh, I know what happened. Like? You sucked.
Everyone first month or two in New Zealand, or the first month or two in Australia, because both of them sucked.
There's another question on top of that as well, because you've had the luxury of performing in different countries. Now, from what I've experienced, I've only been at the Busking Oz, thankfully, right? I've done Adelaide and here. I haven't really had to do much else, right? But I know when my friends like Doc, who is originally from Texas and has performed in Italy and Spain and you name it. He's performed all over the planet. And when he started busking here, I was sharing what I learned through the street, and he's writing a book about this, and literally said, like, busking here in Oz or Melbourne especially is like unlike busking anywhere in the world. Do you find that the way that you would conduct an audience in NZ versus in Oz to be very different, or your approaches need to be different?
Yeah, I think there is subtle differences. I don't know if I'm like experienced enough to comment on all of it. Because like, let's be honest, I didn't do that much street performing in New Zealand because it was only on weekends and such, compared to how much I've done in the 5 months I've been in Sydney or whatever. But even like going to Adelaide for Fringe Festival was different to busking in Sydney.
Right.
So yeah, there will be differences like anywhere. And the big difference mainly is, and why I moved to Australia, is it's like it can be a numbers game sometimes, and New Zealand audiences are friendlier. Yeah, I'd probably agree with that, Jason. But
I've heard from several magicians in the States that Australia is a challenging pitch.
Oh, really?
I think Sydney, Melbourne area in general. I don't know if they were in New Zealand at all, but
yeah. So like, it's also
they say there's this really brash street performer that's ruined it for everyone that comes after him. Some long-haired hippie freak there that's.
We got there.
I didn't know if y'all were with me.
Yeah.
Onward.
Minecraft Steve is a welcome member of the pod.
Oh, yes. This is Minecraft Steve, everyone. I used him for my Trick or Day May yesterday. Quite difficult to come up with an effect with this guy.
So you didn't really say, do you feel like you're at a pace now where you're like, could you pay the rent?
Yeah, I can pay rent. I have like managed to. There's also been weeks where I haven't managed to. Especially like February, March. They were terrible months. But also I'm now like getting back into the swing of it because I just took 6 weeks away from street performing. And since I don't technically have I'm not experienced enough to be like, okay, I can just go straight back into it. I'm still learning a lot about street performing and everything. So having a 6-week break didn't help at all.
Are you changing your show at all? Are you sticking with the same set now?
It's pretty set. I've just gotten back from like basically testing this material at this gig, and now I'm doing it on the street. So I have to change the pacing and everything of it for the street to how it was in the bar. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. And there's like, my show is, I'm always thinking about it, and I'm always thinking about what I want to add or take away. So it's not stuck, most definitely, and it probably won't be for a while. So
can you talk about that process a bit when you think about your show? You got a notepad, you use your phone, like, are you?
Yeah, I write down a lot of things on my phone. I also use a lot of physical pen and paper. I talk to like friends and just people and spitball ideas around.
That's one of the great things about being on the pitch is you're usually around other artists. So you have kind of experienced eyeballs on what you're doing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Good way to grow. You get good feedback.
So yeah, getting there slowly with it. I'm not like happy with my show. Not happy with the entire show right now, but it's just always improving, hopefully. So
that means you're a good artist,
process
man.
Might be constant. Yeah, I think that just sticks with anyone who's really significant.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I've been doing this 15 years, and my coins across, I'm still working on it. And it's like, I'm never going to stop working on it. I'll be dead and I'll still be working on it. Like, it is just...
We have an interesting question from Adzi here. It is interesting, thought-provoking. Mika, do you think your street shows will have improved as much if you weren't filming vlogs? Like, are the vlogs providing people to give feedback on what you're doing because you're showing it? Or is it taking away from your time vlogging? Or is it making you perform better because you know you're on camera? Like, what
and you're reviewing
is your experience with it?
Okay, yeah, so there's a few sides here. So making videos obviously takes up my time, so I don't have as much time to work on my show outside of street performing, which is just like it's just a balancing act at the end of the day. Otherwise, making vlogs, as for like people giving feedback and stuff, I've definitely get a lot of nice comments being like, oh, you've like, you know, encouragement, criticism, all those kind of things are great from video. And then the in regards to filming my show for content and then being able to review that footage, I'm literally in the process of going back through the footage I just filmed of my shows since I got back from this 6-week gig, to see now what I need to improve and how I need to change the pacing.
So that's invaluable. You're able to critically analyze your performances, and that's something nowhere near enough magicians do. Film their act, take a look, and say, "Hey, what am I doing right and wrong?" So to do that daily. Oh,
yeah. So I have the like footage there to review and everything, and even little things, little annoying things like filler words. Filler words annoy the heck out of me, and I know I do them often. Like right now, and Jason pointed out to me a couple of days ago. Right now, my filler word is "of course," so I say "of course" all the time, which is incredibly annoying. It frustrates the heck out of me whenever I hear myself say it. So like yesterday, I was filming a Instagram video, and I said "of course." And like the take was good, but I just scrapped the whole take. I was like, no, I don't want to say that. So I just redid it because it was really annoying me. Mika is the worst at filler words.
I think I'm the worst. I double talk so much. I'm the worst.
I think
I'm the worst. I'm the worst.
And, I think of course. And can you do me a favor? That's
can you do me a favor? That's my other one.
Yeah. Like stop it.
The worst is this. If you have that's the worst for sure.
So that's a big thing that is constantly in my head.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take your
stop
card,
it.
I'm gonna put it, and I'm gonna shuffle. I'm gonna.
When I watched my Australia's Got Talent audition back for the first time, I was horrended to realize that I said, after every beat that would happen where they would laugh or react, when you're meant to just let them laugh and then you carry on with your dialogue, I would go, so like I would say a joke like, do you have a deck of cards with you? Oh, okay, we'll use mine. And then I would say, yeah, so, and I would, that's the filler thing. Anyway, so, and it's in your pocket. Yeah. So, now I have this. And so, and there's a 10-second clip like within that where I say it like 3 times, and the editors have done a good job to try and fade out some of that when I'm saying it. Ooh. By like bumping up the audience, clapping or whatever. And I'm just hearing it and I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, so, and if we, I was like, wow, I feel like I'm like in the Lion King or something. And so, idiot.
My yes, is now. Because you can say a joke, and if it doesn't land, you can go like, blah, 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 punchline, now, and move on. But if I go, now, and they laugh, I'll wait. And then I'll press on. So it's a nice little way to fill the air. If you just go, and I learned that from Billy Connolly, because I grew up watching Billy Connolly's VHSs back then. That's how old I am. And I used to watch them like religiously. I love that guy. He's my favorite comedian, and he's the best storyteller. That's why I love his work. But he would make a joke now, and you know, even when he goes now, you can take a second and think before you have to speak. Now, think about this. You know, now something. Now, come here. Now, take a card. Like, there's certain ways you can do that, but the word now is a little get out of jail free card as opposed to,
I just wrote that. Thank you, Nick.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Jason's calling me out in the comments here saying, just kidding, and an awkward laugh to justify a joke is what I do as well. I mean, I'm sure I do a lot of like annoying habits and all these kind of things that I don't necessarily pick up on, but
they're the things that's great to have someone either watching you or film it. And I remember someone telling me, if you film it and then get everything you've said transcribed into word format, you'll realize how stupid what you're doing looks when you read it on paper. Because you'll read like just extra words, double words, things won't make sense. Yeah, and
that's a nice idea. Yeah,
that's a way to do it. And there's
basically
even on this podcast, I have filler words. and I'm trying to just now be conscious of it. I'm just not talking when I don't have something to say. But my good friend Vin Yang, who has been blowing up on socials these days, he has this thing called sight sound sync that he recommends for people. So you film yourself performing and then wait like a day because you'll be too critical. And then he says, watch it back, but with no sound.
Oh, I've seen
So
this video.
just
yes.
watch it. Yeah, just watch how you, like, what energy do you give off as a performer when it's just visual, and then the next day just listen to you perform. Don't watch it, and you'll hear how you come across audibly. And then on the third day, watch it together and see, like, how it all feels, but also if the audio and the visuals are matching. Because some people will be really loud and stuff, but they'll like stand in one spot. They won't really do anything. And so that can be really interesting as well. You guys can, he did a TED talk on it, so you can definitely look that up.
Cool.
Vin Yang. Yeah.
That's
So,
pretty cool.
the Mayo
I had a
Magic Bar.
question.
Yes. You can go
a
pee
question
if you
about-
have to.
Sweet, I'm going to
That's
Zaya.
Yeah, we were joking just before the show started. I was telling the guys that before every show, I drink like 90 mils, almost a liter of like a protein smoothie. I then have 2 coffees lined up. I finished one. I have this one. and
That's
also
what I should
finished
do.
Oh, you
2
actually have
coffees.
2 cups.
2 coffees, and then I also have this bottle of water. And then I spend the entire time doing the podcast just holding in my pee.
How long can he hold it?
And last
as
week's
soon as the
episode
pod-
went for an hour and 15 last week, and I was sitting there going like, I wonder if I can pee in this bottle without anyone noticing me. Just, like, just casually, just
Just mute your mic.
And then if there was a sound for how it feels to relieve yourself, it's this.
Let me just grab this. Let me grab my
that.
foo can. Oh, that's nothing in here, fellas.
So I do want to talk about the Mayo Bar, and I apologize for this derailing the show like I always do. But hat lines, how important is the hat line, and how proud of you of your hat line? Because I think hat lines is one of the most magical bits about a street performer. When you see someone's hat line, it's like, oh my god, that guy has the best hat line. For those of you that don't know, a hat line is when you finish your street show, and at the end of the show, you basically ask people for money, and you can do it in the form by going like, you guys put money in the hat, I've done my show, or you could do something heartfelt. There's a lot of ways of doing it. So how do you go about it? Do you ask for money before the end of the show, and then you finish the show, put the hat down and just let people run at you? Or do you finish the show and then go, thanks very much, put money in the hat? Because there's a couple of ways you can go about it, and I'm just curious what your method is.
So that's the thing that I've probably learnt the most about, and the thing that Jason's like drilled into me the most about hat lines, because mine used to absolutely suck. It still kind of very much does suck, because I had like a bit of a structured hat line before Maho, and now that I've come back, I'm wanting to like change it again and restructure it and stuff. So it's just in the process of being redone. And then, but I technically like hat line twice. So I hat line near the end of the show, and then like at the end of the show. Does that make sense?
Is that
Is
all
Nick
you?
dying over
Is
here?
that the only time you mention money? I would assume there's more than 2, right? Do you not? Yeah,
So
that's probably worth a
currently-
20, or you sprinkle
No,
it in
so,
a little
yeah.
bit.
Currently, there is only 2. I do like, to be fair, I do a bill switch and stuff on my show, so I should probably rope something around that as well. But those are all things that I'm just aiming to add to the show and improve over time. I mean, obviously, I really need to jump on that because it is money and it is my living essentially. So yeah, I'm not happy with my hat line. I haven't been for a very long time, and it's just a ever evolving process. I need to like sit down again and really go through it all. But yeah, so I hat near the end of the show, like just before the finale, and then once I'm finished. So the once I'm finished bit is actually the bit that took me the longest to get the hang of, and it was only really in Adelaide that that like Jason was telling me, and it kind of clicked as to oh shit, that actually works. Sorry, swearing. So
No, you're
because at the end you kind of need to just drill it constantly, it seems. Like, how do I word this? So as soon as you finish, instead of like taking a bow and being like, oh, thank you very much, everybody, that is the end of my show. Like, you just kind of get your hat out and you're like, thank you very much, everybody. My hat is here on the table, blah, blah, blah. Like, if you can afford to give, I appreciate it. And then you just go for it. You go for it. You go for it. And you keep drilling it, because I know Jason said this to me, where people will make like a split-second decision at the end there, whether they're going to pay or they're going to leave. And you need to make that a very clear moment for them. So that's what I'm working on.
I have a method of getting people to stay before you do your finale. And
you hold
what
hostage?
I say is, no, it's better than that. So what I say is, I'm doing my bit, right? And then I go, oh, I'm in a good time. Can I do one more before the grand finale? And they'll go, like, is anybody in a rush? Does anyone have a train to catch or a restaurant to get to? And if everyone goes, nah, man, like, do an extra one before the finale, I'm like, great. So in that moment, like, you ask them, does anyone have to go anywhere? They all say, nah, do an extra one and do the finale. We're having a good time. So that's sick. Then you do
I like that.
So when you ask for money, they're not going anywhere, because they said earlier they don't have anywhere to be. So there's no reason for them to walk away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something I came up with a long time ago. And you can word it your own way. I mean, I've got a script that's very specific to the routine and stuff, so I'm just synopsisizing for the sake of time. But ultimately, before you do your grand finale, you say, does anybody have somewhere to be? Can I do one more big one? Has anyone, like, go, can you guys stay? Yes, we can stay. Great. Guess what's going to happen when you hat? No one's walking away. Because everyone said they could stay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Everyone was expecting a magic trick to happen just then, Nick.
Okay. So one of the things I did to introduce magic, this is in my gram, but this is a routine I came up with called splitting the bill. Let me make sure this is ready to go. Okay.
Beautiful.
So I would do it with a 5 originally, but I've only got a 50 because I don't have the 5
Successful.
around me right now. I'm all that. So
First
I would
one
do a
props.
bit. Because I would close my show with the cups and balls, and I would take out my hat and I would say, this is my magic hat, because right now the hat's empty, and after the show, it's filled with money. And they laugh, and I go, exactly. Look, at the end of the show, I go, this is how I make my living, this. I give this whole Kevin Costner speech, and I say, like, for those of you who do not like, if you're from out of town, you don't know what money looks like, this is 50 cents. Yeah, and if you give me one of these, like, it would be a $5 bill. I'd be like, this is 5 cents, and I would show like a $5 bill. But I'll do the script to this. This is 50 cents. These are great. This means I can pay for this. If you give me one of these, this is $1. And these are great because it means I can pay for my this. And then I say, if you don't have one of these, that's fine. I'll take 2 50s. That's totally cool. You can drop just 2 of these in there. And just pop them in the hat when you're done. That would be great. I'd really appreciate that. And then I go on with the show, and close the show. And that's like thank you.
Well done.
So that's a really good bit that I would do in my show. And then I would finish the show. They put their money in, and the whole script was that if you don't have money, that's okay. I was like you too. That's why I started doing this. I go, kids, don't freak out. I know you're in high school. You don't have money, but don't worry about it. Someday you will. And when you do, I'll still be doing this. Come back then. Say hi and say, hey man, remember me? I made something of myself, and I'm going to put some money in your hat, and I'll shake your hand and I'll say, hey man, I'm glad you're doing well. And that I'll do this whole speech, and people will give me an applause going like, kids, stick around. I go, but you know what? But be a good person. Come over, shake my hand and say, thanks for a good time. All right? And I've had people applaud that from me telling kids, don't be a dick and walk away because you're broke. Be polite. Come over and say thank you. And people have applauded that, like that hat line. And then I go,
That's awesome.
Are we ready to close the show? And they go, yes. So it's like,
I'd just like to give you money now.
And they do that. But don't let them. Don't let them give you money before the
Here's
end.
a suggestion that I think works well for a modern street performer. If you have some signage that has your social media on it, you can invite people to come up and take a picture and say, look, if you like the show and maybe you can't tip, just come up and take a picture and go drop a like on my blah, blah, blah. So now everyone's not scattering and they have purpose to come up. And when they take the picture, they're going to be pointing their camera right at your Venmo and your Cash App. So it works on that as well. If you're not using that tactic, do so. Take a picture. If you can't tip, go like my social media, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And now on
And it's
to.
remarkable.
Oh, actually, Mika, we don't want to let Nick be the only one doing some magic on the podcast. On the Magic
Segue.
Guys. You do have to do magic every day right now. So would you care to magish?
Yeah. So this trick is an easy trick for the podcast, but because I'm tired.
We want raise rise.
Oh, okay. I'll do raise rise. Yeah, I'm gonna whack out.
Do
raise
both.
rise.
Do both. Yeah.
There we go.
Hold up. Let me give you the view. Let's change the viewing experience here. There we go.
All right. Let's see if my hands will work. Three of hearts. We'll leave the three of hearts right here, all the way at the very bottom. All right. You can see it all the way at the bottom. All you gotta do is watch carefully though, as it actually rises through the layers of the cards. It rises a little bit higher, one at a time, like so. It gets higher and higher in the pack, all the way to the very top. Three hearts.
Wow. That's crazy good.
That's my warm up.
Love it.
You make that look so easy, and it is not.
Little first dot shop sponsor flex in the top corner. I can see too. Very nice.
Okay, so now a self-working trick. He's already done this trick this year. Needs to do a different one. Yeah, but I've already done this trick that I'm about to do as well. I couldn't find something for the podcast, Jason, so I don't have a giant room full of magic, unfortunately. So this this magic trick is, how am I going to present this? Like this. So for this trick, we have a prediction card in the center of the pack here. It is actually a different color to everything else. And it does have a few words written on it. Right now it says, "You will roll." Okay. We're going to leave this in the middle of the pack, and we'll get back to it in just a moment. First, Nick, can you please, I almost said, can you do me a favor? Nick, can you please think of 1, 2, or 3 6-sided dice? How many would you like? 1, 2, or 3?
2.
2. Perfect. So if you were to roll those 2 dice and total the number up, you'd have numbers between, 2 and 12. What number would you like?
11.
Yes? Do you want to re-roll your dice? They're not loaded or anything?
They're not loaded.
Okay, perfect. 11 it is. So I'm going to do this as fair as possible from the top of the deck. Count 11 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 11th card face down right here. Now, you could have rolled any other number between 1 and 18. I gave you 3 dice. So the 9 hearts, 4 spades, ace of clubs, any card after it as well. But we stopped on this card, the 11th card. And I actually wrote my prediction on the 2 of diamonds right here. The 1 red card in the entire deck of cards that says "You will roll." And we actually have 1 number here, 11. That is the number of cards here. But I do actually have 1 more thing written on this card. 1 more thing, the Queen of Clubs, which should actually match this 11th card, the Queen of Clubs.
Damn.
That's cool.
There we go.
And that has to be worthy of a like and share.
Damn. That's awesome.
There we go. Some sleight of hand and some self-working magic. All in one.
Beautiful. Are you
Thomas-
sure you don't want to
Thomas has
try one
asked-
that you haven't done? Even just make one up so you don't have to film one later.
No, I have a completely different video I think I have to film today, so I will do it then. I can't think right now.
Fair enough.
My brain is overflowing with too much, so.
So the Mayo Magic Bar, we're goddamn going to talk about it, all right? I don't
The
want to hear
Mayo
about
Magic-
this
yeah, so-
successful busking and this good feeling vibes of coming over from New Zealand. We want to hear about the stuff. So, what was really cool to see you get that contract, by the way, was like watching your journey, quitting the job, coming over here, watching the vlogs. You're like talking about how it's, difficult to go out each day and try and better your busking. And obviously it's always varying how much you'll make each week. And, is everyone back at school now? All that kind of stuff. And then you get a chance to be a magician where you're guaranteed to make a certain amount for 6 weeks in a row. How does that feel? Like when you got that and you're like, oh, I don't have to worry about hat lines or money or the sun or whatever. But now you have to worry about different stuff. Putting on a good show with the team, every day. Were you doing like 3 shows a day? Was that the schedule?
Yeah, so it differs, but I'll talk about it. So it's one clarification really quick. It's Maho Magic Bar.
No, it's not. Don't be silly.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not.
of
That's
course.
ridiculous. That's not how you spell that.
It's not how you spell mayo. Yeah, I know. Anyway, so Maho Magic Bar was the gig that I've had for the last 6 weeks.
Hang on. You sound like Jason with the whole, it's not Mayo, it's Ma. Anyway, keep going.
Oh,
With his last name.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. No, so I spent the last 6 weeks in Newcastle, which is like a few hours from Sydney here. So I just took a train for 6 weeks there. Unfortunately, paid rent in this wonderful place that I live in for 6 weeks without being here, but that was the only downside. Otherwise, the last 6 weeks in Newcastle for Maho Magic Bar, which is basically a traveling magic bar here in Australia. It's like made up of shipping containers. It moves around. Maho Magic Bar. God damn it. Why do I read these comments?
You got to explain the comment. Yeah.
I got way too distracted just then. It's a moving magic bar that is made up of shipping containers, and it basically just moves around to different places. Like it was in Sydney, then it was in Adelaide Fringe, and I saw them briefly there, and then it went to Newcastle, where they invited me to come along for the 6 weeks and fill one of the magic spots. It is a Japanese themed magic bar, and I am most definitely not Japanese, but that wasn't a problem at all. You know, you occasionally get a customer like, you're not Japanese, but there's a whole, because it's a actual show, there's like a backstory written into it essentially. So it's all,
it's a theater experience.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a bit of both, of like a Japanese magic bar where you just go up to the bar and see magic, and then there's also little like group shows and acts put on for the entire
You say
bar at the front.
containers. I'm envisioning smaller rooms. Does it open up into one big room kind of?
Yeah,
or is
so
there...
it's like 2 shipping containers side by side with a big gap in the middle, and a floor gets built there and a roof gets put over top, and then the wall of this container and the wall of that container are taken off. So it's like one big room.
All right.
I've definitely shown you this picture before, Doug, but alas, I'll show you again.
I've seen that, but maybe not envision the inside. Like, I was thinking maybe there's a small section for a close-up show per se.
Well, I've got 6 weeks of videos of the inside of the bar. If you
how did I miss all of those shows?
Yeah, good point.
I mean, that shows how much YouTube I actually watch, because I do watch you, and I still haven't seen the inside of that place.
Yeah, it's funny. No, so basically how it works is there's 5 bars around, and we perform at each bar. So it is a close-up experience, and then there's also a space at the front for like group acts or bigger acts that are presented to the entire audience all at once.
I guess
so
I got some catching up to do on your...
That is the gig that I've had for the last 6 weeks. It was absolutely amazing. I've stayed in some like incredible, like some amazing accommodation. My roommates for the 6 weeks were the bartenders for Maho, and they're from the UK. And they were amazing people. I've had such a great time.
Were they performers as well?
Yes. So one of them is a flair bartender.
Yeah.
So he bartends, but he also does a little bit of flair in the show. So now I'm mildly addicted to flaring bottles. So
which Scotty P is asking, are you going to keep up the bar flaring?
Oh, heck yes.
The bottle flaring, sorry.
Nice.
Hey, look at you go.
Well, you can even hear the glass hitting your knuckles.
Yeah. So I've picked up a lot of
that. I feel like we should throw you a fish.
I've picked up a lot of random skills while at Maho, which has been great. And it's also why, like, the last 6 weeks, I've slightly fallen behind, because I've just enjoyed spending a lot of time meeting a lot of new people, making a lot of new friends, and having a wonderful like experience from all of it. So,
cool.
Yeah. Do you think you'll do more of them?
Yeah, I think if they want me back, like, now that I'm back in Sydney, I'm trying to get back into street performing, go hard at it, and get good, because that's what I want to do. And I just want to be able to be like, I can street perform. I know I can do this. But at the same time, the Maho gig gives me a different place to perform in, different people to work with, and consistent income for a set amount of time, which is great to then supplement my learning on the streets. So
You should
if they invite me back-
definitely be taking all these options so that you know what you want to do. You go all in on the street performing, and maybe you miss some great opportunities.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, the streets are always there. Maho's not. So if Maho comes along again and invites me again, then I will do it again. I can always go back to the streets. So
Yeah, I had a friend of mine who was, during the winter time working another hustle, but also a street performer, and he was stressing out for a moment, going like, "Man, I got to make this money, and I got to pay this thing, and and I don't know what I'm going to do." And I sort of went like, you can do street shows, right? And he went, just. Oh, of course. And then went out there and was like, "Thank you for reminding me. I went out and made twice as much as I do in my 9 to 5. Bless your heart." And I'm like, yeah. But so the beauty of having being a street performer is that you have the ability to travel a lot more. Now, I know that you've come from afar to settle in Sydney, but what do you have anything on your sort of on your to-do list in which like you would like to go experience street performing at Covent
Please say New
Garden
Orleans. Please say New Orleans. I got a couch for
Or-
you, man. Come on down.
Yeah, or New Orleans or Melbourne. Is there any sort of like other places that you have or starting to think about maybe, because you have this luxury of being able to pick up and set up wherever you like and just squeeze out a show. So is there anywhere else that you want to go to?
yeah, most definitely. So I have family in London, so I want to go to London at some point.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like I would go to Edinburgh this year if I was financially stable enough to do so, but unfortunately I am not. So I made the wise decision, I think, on my part to not go to Edinburgh this year, and I will be there at some point. Otherwise, I want to go to London at some point because I've got family there. So that's on the plan. I do want to go to Melbourne pretty soon. I'm staying in Sydney for a while because Vivid's coming up, which is like the month-long light festival thing here in Sydney. So I'm staying here for that, and then I'll probably pop back over to New Zealand to see my family for a little bit. And I also want to go to Melbourne for a couple of weeks to try that out there because I haven't been to Melbourne. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, I've never been to America as well. So when I eventually am able to like travel more in my life, then I will most definitely like pop over to America as well. I'll come see you, Doug.
Magic Life.
Yeah, well, exactly. That as well. So
I think that should be the plan. It's always around August, Magic Live. So definitely there'll be an Australian entourage going there next year, 100%.
Yeah.
And so you can't come with us because you're in New Zealand, but like you should go as well. Just kidding.
We should just get a private jet from here and just go over in a G6.
Oh.
Just do it proper, and everyone just chip
Bro.
in like $1,000 each. And
That's
just be like,
so weird you say that.
I was going to say,
Jason,
Josh has brought this up before, right?
Jason and I had this very conversation, and we were like, let's try and crowdfund a private jet to go to Vegas just for, shits and giggles. Because if it happens, goddamn, only
how
us
good would
and
the footage be?
the foot. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see the video now. How many magic tricks can you do on a private jet?
Yeah. All just like, it'd be one of those Guy Ritchie slow-mo moments where like there's just like champagne midair, there's 360 cameras going around, there's cards in the equation, someone's trying to open the door with a parachute, all kinds of things are happening. Like it'll just be,
my goodness.
yeah, because
Yeah,
someone's trying to do
get
a
the slow-mo
card
moment
on the
as you walk
outside of
off
the
the
window.
plane.
Do we have any secret, billionaire tycoons that listen to this podcast? Because, come on. We got to live. We got to eat too, on a private jet.
We've got to have clients with this sort of infrastructure. We've got to. I've got to.
I'm sure we have
network and start reaching out
clients.
to people.
Yeah. But I don't know if, yeah.
I'm putting this on my to-do list.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
gonna
put
ask
it in the
people how many-
options. Like, put it in the options of payment. You can either pay this, or private jet experience, or, blah, blah, blah. It's like on Penguin Magic, I don't know if they still do this, but they used to have an option of shipping where it was like standard shipping, express shipping, or have the owner come and directly give it to you at your door, and it was like $2,000. But it's an option, a real option. Yeah, it was like within the US, it was like, oh, you want to buy some loops? Okay, well, it's $10 postage or 20 express or $2,000 to have him come and give it to you directly. If you don't ask,
Yeah.
Ah, Scotty P, that's great. That would be the video. Card to cockpit. That's great. I mean, we could do that video anyway, I'm sure.
How about this?
You know what I'm
Card
saying.
on window in jet.
Yeah. Just you get about 1 second of it being out there, and then it's gone. That's the magic moment.
Yeah.
Interesting challenge.
Okay, a G6 can hold 15 passengers. I say that we comfortably do 12 for comfort. 3
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
You better make that 11 and pick me up on the way. I'm telling you.
I honestly wonder how much that would cost to go. It would be a lot to go from Australia to America, but then divided by 11 people, because I know within Australia it's like 10 grand or something, isn't it? Like if you're going from New York to LA in America, it's like at least 10 grand for a small private jet. But I don't know. Nick's doing the numbers. He's doing the
booking it now.
calculations.
He's on
variables,
Expedia.
checking the exchange rate. Yeah. This is good. This is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should do this outside of the pod because I think I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole here.
But it's so funny. Or who's best friends with Chris Kenner? I'm looking at you, Doug. It's probably you.
Hey, man, I don't even know if the guy likes me, but, he got me in the show and got me good seats, but that doesn't mean he even likes me, so I don't know.
I'm not his best friend, but I think I have his number.
Ooh.
Hey, can I get that?
Just share it.
It's a
I'm going to be
start.
there in June. I'm going to be like, hey, Chris, I'm here again.
Yeah, I got it. I can't show it in the pod, but
Man,
Oh, surely.
that's pretty fancy.
That's ridiculous. Well, Mika, what's next for you, bro? Obviously today's video. But
Yeah.
What
Actually,
else
me and
is on
Jason
there?
were meant to go and film Street Magic, but he said he was sick yesterday, so I don't even know if he's still here, and I don't know what's happening. But
that's a daily occurrence with Jason.
yeah.
He said today we'll do something, but I actually don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Perfect.
You just described my relationship with him for the last 10 years.
No, bro, still doing it. Okay, there we go. Amazing.
Hey. Well, there you go. Filming on the way. All of Mika's links are in the description too, so you can follow his journey, and you can watch him on Instagrams. We'll post his home address later because I got it yesterday, so you can stalk him. And people are really getting to know you, man. I mean, what's the best thing about doing daily magic on YouTube? Like, are you sort of growing all of these like friendships from around the world?
Slowly, it's a lot to. It's just a lot. Like, there's times where I'm like, I wish I wasn't doing this, and it would give me more time to do other things. But at the same time, I think I'm gonna be hopefully. Shut up, Jason. I think I'm gonna be hopefully like incredibly proud of myself that I did manage it by the end of the year, and then I never have to do it again. So I might as well do it now while I'm 21, and then it's done.
Yeah, man. Because the thing is, bro, you'll notice too, once you're, even my age at 33, like a year is like nothing. Once you do this, you look back on it and be like, oh yeah, I did that for 1 year. Yeah. And so once it's done, and you're in it. And I think the best thing, and what I've been experiencing with my mini challenge of posting a trick every day in May, is just that forced creativity it puts upon you. Like, and not only are you posting these videos for everyone else to see, but you're also like making yourself show up every day to do it as well. Like
I'll tell you the
building
best thing.
this discipline.
Here's the best thing. We talked about it earlier, and that's that you have reflective time on your work. You're watching yourself, and you're progressing that way. So whether or not this task of making a video every day is beneficial to you on social media is okay. But I think as an artist, if you're being self-analytical on a daily basis, you got to get better. Gotta.
Yeah. I totally agree. Because like, I was putting together a video for the trick a day, and it was a version of an ambitious card, but it was going to be really fun with like jokes and cards with stuff written on them and stuff, and I'm doing it, and I'm going like, okay, it's okay, but I need someone holding a camera to do this properly. Like, I could put it up like this, and it would be okay, but I would not be proud of it, and I would not. And like this one move, if the fixed camera, it's like you can see that load, like you can see that slight, and it's like slights are not meant to be seen, and the fact that it's going to have your name attached to it, that for me, like it's got to be good stuff, you know.
Yeah. Well, Mika, if you had to leave everyone with some words of wisdom. It's too early for me. What is it?
My camera just died. Hold up.
Thanks for listening. It's time for us to disappear now. But we'll see you again on the next episode of The Magic Guys.